Hello and welcome back to my workshop. This video will be an update on the Ellie the Tram project that I started back in May. In the previous video on this project I introduced the project and made a start following the drawings and instructions in the book sold by Camden Steam Services. The book suggested starting with the coupling rods, which is what the first video covered. At the end of that video I said that my next part to make would be the jack shaft. I went away and made these off camera. These were slightly longer. The coupling rods are 70mm between the centres and the jack shaft is 100mm between the centres. The process of making these was exactly the same as the coupling rods as shown in the first video. After I had made the jack shaft rods, I moved on to the next part of the project, which the book suggests making. This is the main side frames of the chassis. The book suggests making these out of 3mm by 30mm flat steel bar. I started off by attempting to make some using this method. Here is one of the side chassis that I originally made. I wasn't happy with how these came out. I struggled to mark out where the positioning of the holes with, as the edge of the steel bar has actually got a sort of a round on it. So then the project was put on the side for one bit while I tried to come up with a solution. I decided to change the design slightly and use 1.6mm stainless steel sheet. I had some already. My change of design included redesigning the frame stretchers for the ends of the chassis. I created this out of the 1.5mm stainless steel sheet. Obviously worked out the distance in between the two side frames and marked it out and bent it round, drilling the holes for the bolts that hold the whole chassis together. I then made a second one. I will include a couple of photos I took during that process. Once I had completed the frame stretchers for the ends of the chassis, I then moved on and marked out the main side frames of the chassis. I will include photos from this process. As per the coupling rods, the main frames of the chassis were cut out using the angle grinder. To start with, they were roughly marked out onto the stainless steel sheet, and the front axle hole was drilled out. I then used the coupling rod, bolted it in. I mean, to start with, that was drilled to 3mm, the same as the hole in the coupling rod, so I could use a M3 bolt to bolt it into place, and then you mark the position of the second hole so you can get them perfectly aligned, so the centres of the holes are exact, so that the chassis will run freely. The same is then repeated with the jack shaft rod to make sure that that hole lines up correctly, so the chassis will run freely. The method of bolting the rods in place and then using it as a template to drill the holes in the chassis is the method suggested in the book. Once I was happy with the position of all the holes and that everything lined up, I then had to file the edges of the main frames down to the score marks. This was quite a tedious task, to be honest. The next job was to machine the axle bushings. These were made out of 10mm brass rod and were machined down to size on the lathe. I will now include some footage of this process. As I'm still very new to lathe work, I haven't filmed the start of this process, so I could get used to machining. But I made these out of a 10mm brass round bar and have turned the end down to 6mm, and it's 5mm that way, roughly as per the drawings in the book. What I'm doing now is turning the leftover bit that was in the chuck down to 2mm, and then drilling out and reaming the hole for the axle to 4mm. Now, after turning the flange down to 2mm, this took a bit of trial and error with the vernier gauge to get it to the right size. I am using the drill chuck on the lathe with the 4mm drill bit to drill out the centre of the axle bushing. Now I've changed the drill bit for a 4mm reamer. I'm going to run that through the hole in the axle bushing. As you can see here, we now have the 4 axle bushings. The process will be repeated now for the jack shaft bushings, and then these will be ready to go into the main frames. The axles were then cut from 4mm stainless steel bar, as per the book, and at this point I decided to test assemble the chassis with the main frames to make sure everything lined up correctly and that the axles turned freely in the bushings. Now it was time to sort out what I was doing with the wheels for the loco. The book includes drawings for a design of wheel that you can turn in your lathe. I decided not to go with that, and I have recycled some old Accucraft coach wheels. These are slightly smaller than the original design, but I don't think that will be an issue. It will just mean the loco is slightly lower geared, which doesn't seem a big problem to me. The wheels ran on plastic insulating inserts on the Accucraft coach axles. I have machined some steel inserts that are tightly fitted into the wheels, so there's no movement on them at all. In fact, they were that tight, I had to use the heating up the wheel method and freezing the insert to fit them into place. And then they are held onto the axles with grub screws. At this point, the chassis was reassembled again, and I could see whether it ran smoothly along the track of my garden railway. While I was testing the chassis, I realised that it had too much lateral flex in it, and I decided that I would have to add an extra frame stretcher. The drawings for the chassis do not include an extra centre frame stretcher, as the design uses the 3mm thick steel, which is very rigid and pretty heavy duty for 16mm scale locomotives. As mine are thinner, there's quite a lot of flex across the centre of the chassis. Now, you have to be careful when positioning a centre frame spacer, as you have the meths tank which sits here, roughly here in the frames, and then the pipe and the wick for the burner, which sit roughly under the boiler. So the positioning of the centre spacer is crucial. I machined this little spacer in the lathe out of some 10mm steel bar. The centre was turned down more for aesthetic reasons than anything else, and then the ends of it were drilled and threaded so that it will bolt sandwiched in between the two frames. This then brings us to the final part of the progress that I have made on the project. The next job was to make the cranks. And this is where it went slightly wrong, and I am yet to fix the issue, as I have been busy with other things over the summer. Right at the start of the project, I decided that I wanted to do away with all of the imperial threads included in the designs and just use metric threads. I have a set of metric tap and dies, and the imperial ones are rather expensive. The cranks in the drawings are designed to be 3mm thick. I've made them a bit heavier duty, a bit thicker, so I can include a M3 grub screw to secure them onto the axles. The design uses an imperial thread of 6BA. The positions for the holes for the crank pin were marked onto the steel, and then I drilled out the holes to 2mm. As with the coupling rods, I made a template to draw round to get the correct shape for the cranks that sat into the 2mm hole I had drilled. Once I had marked out the shape, then I drilled the crank pin hole to 2.5mm and tapped it to the M3 thread. This was where it went wrong, although I was not aware at the time. The axle hole was drilled out to 4mm, and a 2.5mm hole was drilled in the flat edge at the bottom of the crank pin, which was then threaded to the M3 thread for the grub screw. Now it was time to add these to the chassis and test fit the coupling and jackshaft rods using M3 bolts as a temporary crank pin. This was where I became aware of the issue. When screwing the M3 bolts into the cranks, I became aware that several of them, I don't know if you can see this on the camera, were at a bit of an angle in comparison to the crank. I believe that this has either happened when I was drilling the holes, although that seems unlikely, or maybe it was when I tapped the hole to the M3 thread. I was using a hand tap and die set, well, a hand tap, and maybe when I was putting it in, I've gone in slightly on an angle, which has kicked the angle of the crank pin out. So the next bit of progress needs to be the remaking of the cranks. Hopefully this time I will be able to do it and keep it square. I have been given an idea for a way of making sure that they are kept square from a fellow member at Butterley who has recently built an Ellie. The plan is to hopefully now I've finished with my other project, to continue with this and remake the cranks over the winter, and I will produce a video on the progress. Ellie has been put on the back burner for quite some time now, several months over the summer, while I have been focusing on another project. But hopefully now I will be able to continue with Ellie and make more videos going forward. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.